get the information. That's where you can register. But what's nice about this particular event is that this will be the first event of 2021. So this will help set the pace for the rest of the year. So it's a very important event that you promote right up to the last minute. Second, as Greg mentioned to you and Mike Kane mentioned to you, this virtual event is going to be on the new platform. So we're going to be showcasing ACN in a way that you've never seen before. And I think, being that it's virtual, this will be the closest thing to being live and being there than anything that we have ever done. So it's going to be an amazing experience, where someone's going to be able to it's a virtual convention center. So someone's going to our job is to help them get that feeling of being there and being live. So they're going to be able to enter the virtual convention lobby, obviously get that feeling and that energy. They're going to also be able to enter the main arena where all the training and information announcements are going to be going on. They'll be able to visit the virtual product booths and then attend the virtual individual team leadership events. So they're going to be able to navigate themselves around this new platform. It's going to be a great feeling. It's going to be a great look, and it's very exciting. The closest thing to being there that we've ever done. This particular event is going to be it's going to be very high energy. You're going to be hearing from the founders of ACN. You're going to be hearing from all the top leaders in ACN, the SVPs, the Circle of Champion members, special guests. It's going to be packed with the training, from A to Z on the basics, how to get customers, how to build a team, everything you want to know about building your business. We're going to have product training there. We're going to have limited time promotional product offers. We're going to have leadership training, recognition, much more, everything that you would expect from one of the great international events that ACN does. So we're excited about it. You guys already know the schedule. We went through it. The main event is Saturday. But what I want to focus on is the Friday. Because the main event on Saturday, March 20th, that starts at 11 a.m., ends at 6 p.m. Eastern time, you have to register for that event. Okay, but the BOM that we're going to be holding on Friday, March 19th, that's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's free to the public. And I just want you guys to know how to best use this particular event. The nice thing about the Friday BOM being free to the public is anybody can get on there and experience, as Mike Kane said, the new platform. So not only can they feel the new platform, experience the energy and everything that's going to come from that, but we have an amazing lineup that's going to do this BOM. Look, everybody, says, man, if I could just put my guests in front of the right presentation or the right individuals or the right leaders, that could change everything. That could make all the difference in the world. And you have the greatest lineup you could ever imagine for a presentation. You got Mr. Pat Mazer and Chanel Burt that are doing the actual BOM, okay? They are the best of the best COCs, SVPs. Also have other leaders that are participating. Harsh Patel, Franco LaFranco, Melissa Street, James Adlam. I mean, this is the greatest lineup you could ever imagine for someone to get their first experience in ACN and actually get an exposure. So here's the purpose of why we are doing the Friday BOM. And I think that you really got to understand the purpose. It's not so we're doing a presentation so someone can see a presentation in ACN. The biggest purpose of that Friday night is that to use that BOM to get people to the Game On event on Saturday. That's why we're doing it. So you can call it what you want. You can say, hey, check out a presentation, but the goal of the presentation is to pique people's interest, obviously, in the opportunity, or a second look, either way. But the goal of this presentation is to get anyone and everyone last minute to register for the Game On event. And that's ultimately what you want to do. Now, when they do the BOM on Friday night, they're going to be promoting their team meetings, and they're going to be promoting the Game On event. But what do you think they're going to do in their team meetings? They're going to rally everyone at the team meetings to secure them and to get even more people to go to the main Game On event on Saturday. So the thing that I want you guys to understand is, obviously, if you think about the basics of our business, there's three basic fundamental things that everyone always has to do to be a great recruiter and build a big team. And you can't avoid this. And that is, obviously, we all have to invite people to look at the business. If you don't invite someone to look at the business, nothing's going to happen. But the second thing that has to happen is we got to present the business in the best possible, most professional way. But the third thing that has to happen after a presentation is to promote the next event. The reason why promoting events is such an important topic is because if you build a business without promoting the next event, specifically this week it's going to be the Game On event, then you weaken your ability to build a business. Because the reality is, I think everyone at this point, you guys are all RDs and higher, you guys understand that getting someone to join ACN or getting someone in ACN is one thing, right? But getting ACN in them, getting them excited about doing the business, getting them passionate about doing the business, getting them to want to work this business with everything they've got, that's completely different. So getting someone in ACN is one thing, but getting ACN in somebody is another thing. What gets ACN in people? It's multiple exposures to our business. Because if you think about it, all of us at this point, you know, we love what we're doing. We believe in what we're doing. We're passionate. We're excited. Look, we go through different levels of momentum. That's real, right? There are times where you're on fire, and there's times where you're not doing what you should be doing. You're not as motivated as you want to be. But one thing we all know is that the ACN business is awesome. We know it's real. We know the potential is there for all of us to do whatever it is that we want to do. And that can never be taken from us. And because of that, we got that burning desire. It can be put down a little bit, but it's never going to burn out, and it's always going to be there, right? And so you ever ask yourself, you know, how come other people don't feel the same way we do? You ever seen someone enter the business? Look, we've all done it. And you know, they nonchalantly enter, they nonchalantly do this, they nonchalantly maybe exit the business. You think, or maybe you have a hard time getting someone to even like participate at all. You think, why don't they get it? Why don't they see what we see? Why don't they know what we know? Why don't they believe what we believe? Why can't they catch the vision that we have? And the reality is sometimes it's because we have just been around this longer. We have seen more than they have seen. We've been exposed more than they have been exposed to. And because of those multiple exposures, because of what we have eventually grown to know about what we're doing, that is what built the real vision of what we're doing. It's those multiple exposures. That's what builds vision, and that's what builds belief. And here's the bottom line. People perform to the exact degree of how much they believe in what they're doing. So our goal is not just to get someone in ACN. You know, if you want to be a short-sighted, short thinker, small thinker, yeah, sign as many people up as you can. But the beauty, the art of our business is not just signing up as many people as you can. It's getting as many people as you can that sign up to catch the same vision and belief that we have. And how do you do that? You never avoid the important step of promoting the next step. You never avoid and that next step could be a second exposure. It could be another BOM, right? It could be a weekly training. It could be a personal launch. It could be all the above. But everything leads to the Game On event. The Game On event is the premier event that ACN puts on, and the goal of the Game On event, the goal of our virtual international events, or at one point our live international events, the goal is simple, and that is to deliver a message in a way, in the best possible way, that someone can catch the vision of ACN and get the belief that we would like them to get. How do they catch that vision? How do they catch that belief? It's not always what you think it is. It's not going to necessarily be a particular training or the overall event itself. It could be one small thing that happens in the event. It could be Greg's opening or Greg Provenzano's closing. I can't tell you how many people, we all know this, I can't tell you how many people, for whatever reason, when Greg gives his message, it really touches people. It connects with people. And I've heard so many people say that his message alone was the single reason that put him over. It could have been a particular testimonial or a particular story. It could be a certain trainer, maybe a leader in someone else's team that does a training on how to build the business, but in a way that connected with your guest, like you couldn't do, or maybe your current leaders in your upline couldn't do. We don't all relate to everybody. We relate to people that we relate to. and sometimes hearing the same message from another individual that you connect with is all that had to happen for that person to cross over, to catch the vision and catch the belief. So you don't know what it is specifically. You know, it could be an RVP promotion. It could be an SVP promotion of a certain individual and their story. We don't know what it is. So our job is not to worry about that. Our job is just as leaders is to understand it is important that we not only get anyone and everyone to attend that Game On event that's coming up this Saturday, but we utilize every possible tool to do it. And the big tool that you guys can use right now is make sure that when we are done today, here we are Wednesday, you know, we're doing this training. I almost want to say, let's not train, let's go to work. We have limited time right now to get as many people as you can to that Game On event. But when we are done today, what you need to do is focus on making sure every single person in your pipeline that is not registered, every single person that you've been talking to and every person on your team that you guys have been talking to that can go to the event, you need to get to them and promote as much as you can to get them to register for that event. However, think like this. Don't think in terms of just getting them to the event. If someone does not register for the event, then give them an alternative choice. So if they're not registered for the event and you want to get them registered for the event and you're not sure if they're going to do it, you make sure you secure them for Friday night. Get them to Friday night and let Friday night get them to the event. I hope that makes sense. Get them to Friday night. So it's either register for the event or make sure you get on the Friday night BOM and let the leaders do it from that point, because that's going to be the purpose of Friday night. Anybody you get on that Friday night BOM, they're going to do everything in their power to promote those people on that BOM to get on the Saturday Game On event. Okay, so make sure that's your strategy. If they haven't already registered, make sure they get to the Friday night. Tell them to put one person on. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that you get them on Friday night. Now, let me tell you why I'm so passionate about this particular subject and why ACN has always believed in events, why we've always worked hard at making sure that we had events for people to promote. I'll just tell you my personal story. I'll never forget when, and by the way, I was exposed to direct selling when I was in my early 20s. And the first time I was exposed to it, someone did what they were normally supposed to do. They invited me to a presentation. I sat through a presentation and I joined a company. But you know what? They didn't promote any training. They didn't have a system. They didn't do anything right. And as quickly as I was in, I was out. But the reality is I was the right person at the right time. Even though it was in my early 20s, I was extremely ambitious. I was extremely hungry. I was looking for an opportunity. But that opportunity, I was the right person at that time. I was ready. But that system it wasn't the right system. They didn't have something to promote me to. Because if they did, I would have went. And if I went, I would have learned. And I would have built confidence that there was a system I could plug into. But they didn't do it. They didn't know what they were doing. So that team lost me. Years later, I get reintroduced to the direct selling business again. I'm around 24 years old. Now, it happened like every typical person. Someone piqued my interest, and I went to a presentation. And I'll never forget during the presentation, I like it, it makes sense. But what the person did do right with me is the person, first thing he did was promote me to an event. It was just a basic weekly event. I went, I learned, I got interested even more. But what I learned at an event was the things you're supposed to learn. I'm kickstarting my business, put a bunch of people in a room, and let the leader present for me. It's exactly what I did. I was scared, I was nervous, I had no confidence. But I did what the person asked me to do, a few basic things. And I learned that at that first little event. So I put a bunch of people, my brother and myself, packed our apartment with our warm market, and I was nervous. I'm like nervous, excited, but I felt safe because I wasn't the one doing the presentation. I had an expert there doing it for me. All I had to do was just put the people in the room, and I did it. Well, the person did a presentation, and I'm like thinking no one's going to sign up. But when the person was done, everybody was signing up. So you can imagine my excitement went even higher. So Mike and I got really serious, and we started doing all the basic things we're supposed to do. We're doing presentations, and we're kind of taking it seriously. But my confidence wasn't there yet. And the person that actually got me into the business took me aside, and this guy was supposedly a pretty big leader. I just met him, and this is what my perception was. And this person said to me, "Hey, listen, you and your brother seem serious. I want you to go to a company event, a big training event that the company's putting on." And at that time, just to give you my background, I was 24 at the time. I was 5 years in the insurance business, so it was sales. I sold health insurance to small businesses. So when you're in sales, you get into personal growth. So I got into personal growth. I listened to or read the books on how to sell, all the motivational stuff. I mean, I was really diving deep into personal growth. So I felt like I was learning, even though I started young, I was learning a lot, over the 4 and 5 years that I was in the insurance business, almost to a level where I didn't want to go to a seminar. And this is exactly what I told the person. I said, listen, I'm not going to go to the company seminar. I don't need to go, number one. I really can't afford it. This is what I was telling him. I really can't afford to go. I don't need to go. I'm motivated. I don't, and I had no idea what I was saying no to. I just thought it was a seminar. Well, this person pushed me really hard. I'm not even going to go into how hard this person pushed me, but he said the type of things I needed to hear. So I ended up, me and my brother, Mike, who was the other founder of ACN, we ended up committing to go to this event. Now, we lived in Detroit, Michigan at the time. This event was in Baltimore. So for us to go, we had to drive because, at that time, we didn't have that much money. So we drove, I'll never forget it, we drove all the way from Detroit to Baltimore, me and my brother. And when we get to this event, it was a company event. It was nothing like what ACN puts on today, but it was a good company event. There was about 600 people or so in the room. And I'll never forget, Mike and I walked in, and we were already like, wow, there's a lot of people. It's bigger than we are. This is interesting, And then we sat down, and when this event started, okay, the first thing that got us was, wow, it's bigger than we are. That's one important thing that an event does. It's bigger than we are as individuals, right? The second thing is that the particular trainer that I listened to was amazing. An incredible trainer when it came to the direct selling industry. So the way this individual trained and how this individual trained was very impactful. As a matter of fact, it was so impactful, I'll never forget, halfway through the training, my knees were shaking. I was like so motivated, all I wanted to do was leave. I looked at Mike, I said, we got to get out of here. I just want to go home and go to work. You know what training's good? When you want to leave halfway through and just go home and work, right? And so I'll never forget, we were pumped up. That was, when I tell you motivated, I can tell you, let me tell you how important that meeting was. Now, this is something you got to really listen to now. That meeting was so important. How important is one meeting? That was the actual moment in time that I made a personal decision that this was the industry that I was going to be a part of. At that moment when I was sitting there. So you say, oh, how important is promoting events? Well, let me tell you how important it is. If I didn't go to that meeting, I would have never been committed to the direct selling industry. If I was never committed to the direct selling industry, I would have never met Greg Provenzano and Robert Stefanowski, and we would have never started ACN. Now, I don't know if there was some other chain of events that would have took place where ACN would have formed, but I don't think so because I believe it was a combined chain of events that took place. So what I'm telling you is how important was that one meeting? I don't know what we'd be doing today, but we wouldn't be on this Zoom because there would be no ACN. That's how important that one meeting was, because it made a personal commitment. I made a personal commitment that started a chain of events that led us to where we are today. It changed history. That's how important a single event is. So I'll never forget, we're driving home. Mike and I are so motivated. And I'm going to tell you this story because I want you to understand the power of what I'm going to tell you. I get home. Mike and I are building a business. We are on fire. We're motivated to another level. So that little team we started developing, we got our meetings scheduled. And, I'm committed. I stepped up. I'm gonna do the presentations. I'm stepping up. I was excited, right? But I noticed something interesting. Mike and I seem to be more motivated than the rest of our team. Like, for example, we have our meetings scheduled, and some of our people would show up late, or they wouldn't bring guests when they promised they would bring guests, or they wouldn't bring the best people they knew for whatever reason, and I had a hard time getting our meeting past 20 to 22 people. And while I'm doing the meeting, it wasn't like today. These great virtual events we're doing today, or the technology. Back then, if you wanted to show a video, we didn't even have flat screen TVs. Back then, who remembers, think about it, remember the big screen TVs that were made of wood? They were like 700 pounds. If we wanted to show a video, Mike and I had to basically deadlift our giant TV from our apartment to our meeting room, and we're deadlifting this television on a table so we could put a VCR tape in to play a company video. So that's the technology we were dealing with. But I remember Mike and I would show up early. We're moving the TV. Nobody would help us. Our team wouldn't help us. We're setting up the chairs. Our team didn't care. They didn't help us. They'd watch us do it. And then we do our presentations, and I'm dealing with their lack of enthusiasm, or them being. Matter of fact, let me tell you how bad it was. I'll never forget. I'm doing a presentation. Public speaking is scary enough. And I'm doing a presentation. I'm looking at the crowd, and I got one of my people on my team making faces at me in the back of the room. I'll never forget it. They're like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, my team is they're not only not taking this seriously, they're trying to sabotage me as a joke. And I'll never forget, I went home that night, and I'll never forget laying in bed. I was so frustrated. That was one of the peak moments of frustration for me. I'll never forget laying in bed thinking to myself, why is my brother and myself so committed? Why are we so committed to this business? Why are we taking this so seriously, and we can't get anyone else to take it seriously? And I remember thinking to myself, the dream one day of having 1,000 people on my team, wow, that would be great. Imagine having 1,000 IBOs. I said, forget that. How about 100 IBOs? I'll take that. You know what? I thought to myself, no. I'm at the point now where I'll take 10 IBOs on my team. And I thought, you know what? I'll tell you really where I'm at. How about one IBO? How about one IBO that's willing to take this as serious as Mike and I are taking it? Why are we taking this so seriously and they're not? I was so frustrated. And then it hit me. It hit me like a train. I thought, wait a minute. Of course, wait a minute. The reason they're not serious like we're serious is we had seen something they did not see. We went to this company event. We caught the vision. We had the belief. We knew where this thing was going. We were excited. We were passionate. We were serious about what we were doing. But it was because of that event, and only because of that event. So I called Mike the next day and I said, Mike, I go, new strategy. I go, here's what we're doing. Let's look up the next company event. And the next company event that was being held in that company was in Chicago. Okay, and it was about 4 weeks out from when we looked at it. And I said, Mike, here's our new strategy. I don't care what happens in the next 4 weeks. We have one simple goal. We're going to get everybody to attend that next company event so they can see what we saw. And so we said, okay, that's fine. New strategy. And so when we were doing our presentations and meeting people, we didn't even know how to promote events. We were just promoting that event. So we were telling everybody, hey, by the way, there's a big event we're all going to in Chicago. We're going to keep the cost down. We're going to share rides. We'll share vans, whatever. We'll share rooms, but we'll keep the cost down. But we're all going. And people would say, well, what do you mean we're going? I said, yeah, we're going. He's going. She's going. We're all going, and you're going too. And people are like, well, do I have to go? Yes, you have to go. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing, but we ended up convincing about 27 people to go with us to the next meeting in Chicago. So, we still haven't gained much momentum. Our meetings were still maxing about 24, 25, 26 people if we, when we did an actual BOM presentation, right? Mixed with some guests, mostly, the IBOs that weren't doing much. But we rallied about 27 people to go with us by the time that month was over. And as we're driving to Chicago, we had about 3 vans or so. We're all just kind of, having fun. It was casual. But I noticed when we're going there, people are making jokes, you know, hey, we're going to Chicago. They're looking at it as a fun vacation, right? And still not taking it seriously. We get ourselves to Chicago. We get ourselves all checked in. The next day, we end up going to this company event. Now, for me and Mike, it was the second time that we've seen this company event. A lot of the same information, but it was the second time. So the first thing I learned is that when I heard the information the second time, even though it was similar, it meant a lot more to me. Matter of fact, it meant a lot more to me for two reasons. One is that when you hear something more than once, you learn better. That's why they say repetition is the mother of learning. So that's the first thing. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. The second reason I learned more is because what I experienced from the first event to the second event of trying to do the business, now it meant more because now I had some experience in which to draw from. So now it made even more sense. So I thought the first meeting that I went to was motivating. The second meeting was 100 times more motivating, even though it was the same information. So now about a quarter way through the meeting, my knees start shaking again. I'm like, I look at Mike again. I go, this is unbelievable. I needed this. This makes so much sense. Now I know what we're doing wrong. And I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. We're so pumped up out of our minds. All we want to do is leave again. I'll never forget that feeling. I just want to leave and go back and go to work and start. And I look behind me. And our team, the 20-some people we had with us, they were sitting in our area all together. And I looked behind me, and I looked at our team, and they all had the same exact look on their face as me and Mike. They're like, this is unbelievable. Thanks for bringing us. I can't believe it. Now it makes sense. They're pumped up. And when I saw their facial expressions, it hit me again. I could have never done for them what this meeting was doing for them. I could have never done for them what this event was doing for them. The event was the one that was giving them the information in a way they needed to hear it. The event was giving them the information to where they caught the vision. The event was giving them the information in which they built the belief. So what was funny is because when we left that event, I saw it happening with my own eyes. And that's when I started realizing the power of promoting events. But I'll never forget when we were driving home from Chicago, that same group of people that were making jokes, thinking of this trip as a vacation, were totally transformed. They weren't joking anymore. They were sharing their testimonies and dreams of what they got out of the event. They were all goal planning together of what they're going to do and how many people are going to get to the next meeting. They were completely different people. They had belief, they had excitement, they had vision. So we're driving home, and the following week was like a movie for me. It was, when I think about it today, I can start laughing. But I'll never forget, we had our next meeting, and something really interesting happened. When we got home, I experienced something I never thought I would experience with this team that I had. Number one, they showed up on time to the presentation. I couldn't believe it. They actually brought guests to the next presentation. I couldn't believe it. They stopped making faces. You know what? You know what they did? They helped us lift the TV on the stand. They helped us set up the chairs. They acted professional. Hey, Mr. Kupas, I'd like to introduce you to my guest. And I'll never forget when one of them said that. Hey, Mr. Kupas, I'd like to introduce you to my guest. And I said, did you just call me Mr. Kupas? Are you serious right now? You know, I mean, my goofy friend who's making faces in the back of the room is now acting professional, taking this seriously, and now has the same look on his face that Mike and I had on our face. And so let me tell you what happened. From that moment, I couldn't get that meeting up to 30 people. Within 6 weeks, that meeting was between 300 and 400 people a night, just from that core group of people working together, taking it seriously. And I could have never done that. We could have never done that if it wasn't for that event. That event did it for us. So as we build our businesses, it's so easy for us to forget the importance of the 3 steps. We have to invite people. We do, because nothing happens unless you invite someone to a presentation. But when that presentation is done, those that have any interest at all, we have to promote the next event. And the reason we promote the next event is so that that event can promote the next event and the next event and the next event, so we can continue to have multiple exposures for our new guests, enough exposures to where they finally get to know the company. They understand that this is a company they can believe in and trust. They can catch the vision of what we're doing. They can clearly understand how the comp plan works, not in the short term, but the long term. But the bottom line is if someone sticks with us long enough and they get a chance to see enough events, guess what? They're going to catch the vision. They're going to get the belief. And people perform to the exact degree of how much they believe in what they're doing. So here's how I'm going to end this. It is Wednesday. You got a tool. That tool is going to be the Game On event this Saturday. But to make sure you can funnel people in that Game On event, we gave you an extra tool, and that is the Friday night BOM. It's not just another BOM. This is the last minute BOM to get anyone and everyone at the very final minute to get them to go to the Game On event. If you can't get someone registered to the Game On event, get them to the Friday night event and just, you know what, cross your fingers, let the leaders do what the leaders do. And the leader's job on that event, and the best lineup you could ever ask for, is they're going to get people to those leadership meetings that night, and or they're going to get people to the Saturday event. And guess what? Sit back and relax and let the company and everybody do what they do and see what happens. You never know who and you never know when, but I promise you, you get someone to the event and your greatest chance of getting someone in and changing the course of history for someone and your business can happen at that very moment in time. So with all that being said, you guys, let's have an extreme powerful push between now and Friday and Saturday, and let's just make this a historic first meeting, first Game On event for 2021. Let's set the pace. Thank you guys so much, and it's off back to you, Greg.
All right, thank you very much, bud, and you brought a lot of good memories back to me. I remember those years driving with a bunch of people all crammed in one hotel room trying to figure out how we're going to eat for the weekend. But we all paid that price. And now with this virtual event, everybody stays home. And we're going to bring this culture and this environment and as much excitement as we can into this virtual platform. And we can't wait to see that unfold on Friday and Saturday. Thanks for that great information, buddy. And now we got a tremendous honor to hear from a Circle of Champions member, Senior Vice President, Mr. James Adlam. James, thanks for being on the call today, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Provenzano, for allowing me to speak on the call. And, you know, I'm listening to Mr. Kupis, and I'm thinking we have the single greatest promoter of anything in any industry in the history of business. Whenever I listen to Mr. Kupis, I think to myself, how is it every time after almost over 2 decades of listening to him, every time I hear him, it's like, I just heard him. And I don't know what that is, but I'm grateful to God that we have it here in this company. And, you know, for everyone that's on this Zoom, this is RD and above. So I get to really talk to you. We don't have to sugarcoat stuff. We don't have to woo-woo. Are you okay? Do you need a lollipop? Like, we don't have to do any of that. Like, we can talk like leaders on the RD and above. And this is, in my mind, this is the safest place in all of ACN because everyone here has proven themselves at a high level in the company to do what you've been able to do in this business. But I'll tell you, you know, there's just a couple of things. And I opened up for myself, as Mr. Kupis was talking, I opened up for myself the gallery view. And I'm just going to go through the gallery, and I'm looking at as many faces as I can. And I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you on here are sports fans? Just raise your hands if you watch any type of sport, football, basketball. Okay, got it. How many of you have ever watched a sporting event, like let's say a boxing match, like a Pacquiao back in the day or whatever? Right? Okay, got it. How many of you some of you are UFC fighting fans? Anyone has ever done UFC stuff? You ever looked at stuff of UFC? Okay, got it. Are there any of you that right now, even though you may not even really watch TV like that, are there any of you that's ever gone to a party for some sporting event, Super Bowl, anything like that? Has that been the case? Okay, got it. Let me tell you what all of those events that I just gave you have in common. For all of the events that I just named, you watch them all on TV or online. Matter of fact, those events were so important to you. Some of you recruited other people to come over to your house, or you were recruited to go to somebody's house to watch that event. Some of you, because you didn't want to pay the cost for that event, went to a local bar when they were open, or some sort of a restaurant where they were playing the game was on or the fight was on, so you could fellowship for free and watch that event. And whether it was a Dana White or whoever these other people were, they said this one match between Conor McGregor and Khabib or whatever that was, this one match is only going to be $80. It's only $80 for the night. And at the end of that night, after you were $80 lighter, and 6 hours or 4 hours or whatever your time was gone between the matches you didn't care about and the match you actually cared about that lasted like no time at all, you then texted your friends or you called your buddies like, did you see that fight? Did you see that? Did you see that touchdown? Did you see that whatever it was? And you know what happened the next day? Your life went on. Like nothing transformational happened. And because they know, whoever they are, that nothing transformational was going to happen, they already had the next fight lined up for you and the next schedule for you to buy the next ticket, where you could then get all fired up, pumped up, and then once again go and buy that ticket for that next event to watch the other people perform at a high level. That's what I thought about right now when Mr. Tony Kubis was speaking. That everyone that we've ever watched, if you've ever watched anyone, think about this. If you've ever watched anyone on a screen, it's because they performed at a high level for whatever you're watching them for. Does that make sense? Like you don't watch anyone, your neighbor's not on the screen. Look, hey, go to your neighbor. Say, hey, what you been on lately? You have no idea what you're talking about because they haven't performed at a high level. They haven't. And I've just got this question for you. What is it going to take for us to do in our organizations what Mr. Tony Kubis just did for us? Like, how many Tony Kubis trainings can we listen to and say, oh my God, that was unbelievable, but then go back and talk to our teams in a way that is not unbelievable? Because he's given us language. How many of you know for years he's given us language? How many of you know for years he's painted the picture? How many know for years he's gotten you fired up and you're already registered? How many of you know this has consistently happened? So at what point do we make the choice to go from being excellent at receiving to excellent at giving what we've received? You know, it is said it is better to give than to receive. That for sure applies in ACA. If you can give other people what we've been given in order to get here, you realize the level that we can be. Let me tell you something. Like, I've got so much to say. I've got such a short window to say it in, but I'm like pulsating in my sweatshirt right now. I'm so grateful for where we are. Look on the news. Look at what's going on in the world. Look at the people still waiting for stimulus money. Look at the people waiting for permission to open up their businesses again. Just look at what's going on in the world. I mean, we've got this news station arguing with that news station and that person arguing with that person. We've got all these people talking about stuff, and you know what's funny? At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. Because at the end of the day, we have this opportunity that if we do the right things, we can literally remove ourselves and the people that we work with from this crazy world of back and forthness and just help people create residual income. But it's not going to happen unless we follow exactly what the master teacher has taught us, which is we got to get people to this event. Look, and I know some of you are like, I got a lot of people coming. A lot compared to who? I mean, who like, what's the compare? Like, because who are you comparing? Like, you comparing what you did last time? How about what if you created a number that is outrageous? Mr. Provenzano did a call for us, a Zoom for us on Monday. And let me tell you something. I'm going to say this for real. And I know it's been recorded, but whatever. It's been recorded. It's all good. He came through that Zoom like Genghis Khan meets Kaiser Sose meets somebody, some Kubla Khan, like some other Khan. Like, he got on that Zoom, and I was like, I am literally, and this was a general session Zoom. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I've never heard him sound like that. And anyone who's on that Zoom with us knows what I'm talking about. Like, he came through, and I was like, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, look, I felt like straightening my collar, like, what's wrong with me? Like, is my breath okay? Like, I like, you want to sit at attention. And I'm like, wait a minute. I know what's going on right now. Like, I'm listening to greatness. Like, this is what's happening. Like, I'm having a physical reaction. I don't know about you, but when I'm around greatness, like, I can't just sit still. Why do you buy the $80 ticket to watch the fight? You're looking at greatness. Why do you take the time to watch the Olympics? Because you're looking at greatness. Why do you take the time to watch the Super Bowl? You want to see greatness. We are naturally attracted to greatness. Why do we pay these people millions of dollars? Why? Because we want to be around greatness. And as I'm listening to him speak and train and give life into our team, we literally, like, they were like, give me questions. I'm like, wait, what questions are you going to ask? What questions can we ask? The man who built a company with the other founders just delivered everything he's supposed to deliver. Now it's on us. We have the playbook. We've been given the field to run on. They gave us the compensation plan. They gave us the services. They've given us countries. They've given us upgrades in income without even being asked. We haven't even asked for the upgrades. They gave us that. What more does ownership need to do? See, in sports, there's ownership and then there's players and there's people on the bench. Listen to me. There's a big difference between the players and the people on the bench. The people on the bench, like, wow, what happened? That was an amazing play. Whoa, look at that. Whoa, you see what he did? And nobody has time for that. I don't have time to be in a company where I could be on the field and making it happen, and I'm going to choose to be on the bench watching people get pre-registered, hearing stories about people getting promoted, hearing stories about people bringing 50 new people to the Game On event, 100 new people to the Game On event. I don't have time to be sitting on the sidelines on my Zoom link watching the parade of success of other people when I've been given the same ball with the same compensation plan and the same opportunity and the same leadership with the same philosophy, with the same success system, the same tools. Everything's the same. Everything is the same. It's not how tall you are. It's not how black you are. It's not how white you are. It's not you're that faith. It's not you're that faith. No, it's everything is the same. For the first time in my professional life, it's all about me. And when it comes down to me, oh, for sure, I'm not going to fumble. So my question for all of you, because I know what I'm doing. You see this chair? Well, you can't see this chair, but I'm sitting in a chair. I'm not levitating. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not levitating. I haven't gotten the, like, GP status where Mr. Provenzano, I don't think he even sits in the chair. He just levitates. He goes to sit and it's like a gust of air below him. That's not me. I got a chair below me. You know what I'm doing in this chair today? I'm telling you what I'm doing in this chair today. I'm calling people. And I'm saying you need to go to www.asiangameon.com. That's what I'm doing. I don't have time to be doing a whole bunch of extra stuff. I don't. Not with 48 hours left. And maybe we all were doing a little bit. You know, we were busy doing a lot of stuff because there's a lot going on right now in the world. And so we could have easily been distracted. But not with 48 hours left. You know, the best in the game get it done with the least amount of time on the clock. Matter of fact, if you look at sports like football, they'll talk about 2-minute drill specialists. Who are the ones that in 2 minutes can create miracles? Well, we've got 2 days. And whatever number we all have right now for the Game On event, let me help you out. Ready? Let me help you ready? Yeah, let me help you ready? It ain't enough. Whatever we got, it ain't enough. Because by the time the clock stops and the system updates and we can't register anybody else, we're going to be thinking about other people we wish we could have gotten there and they can't come. Here's a lot I'm going to say. I worked my butt off for one category in this company because Mr. Tony Cooper said so. He said, if you can just get good, who's seen the flyer on your Saturday training slides that said, if you can just get good at promoting events, you'll become an RVP? The man who said it just talked to us. He just talked to us again. And he just said the same thing in a new way, repackaged again. Same thing. And I believed him. I sat in a training at an event. I said, okay, I'm not ranked in top prereq. I'm not ranking top prereq. Okay, got it. I'm not ranked on the production charts. Okay, got it. I'm not a top customer producer. I'm not a top IBO producer. I'm not top in any category in ACN. But if he says, if I can get good at this one thing, then I'll be an RVP in the company. Well, since he's the founder, boom, I don't need it anymore. He already gave it to me. So the only thing that James Adlam ever really cared about was promoting events. That was it. I said, if I could do what he said, then maybe it can happen. Here's what happened. Never forget it. I remember when the first time I hit top rankings as a regional director for promoting an international event, I lost my mind. I went up on that stage. I bear hugged Mr. Provenzano. I bear hugged Mr. Kupis. I bear hugged Mr. Kupis. I bear hugged Mr. Kane. You would have thought I just won like the Super Bowl. Here's what I was like, I'm up here. I'm in now. I'm here. Can you see me? I was excited. I was up for one category. One. But yet, the people that I brought to that event, just like the man said, caught the vision, got the conversation, came home, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm popping in other categories that I hadn't even thought about because I was so focused in on that category. And one category took me to another, took our team to the Circle of Champions. Why? Because I listened to what the man said. Now, he just said it again for 30 minutes. What are you going to do when you get off this Zoom? You're going to have a cocoa, some tea and biscuits? What are you going to do? Are you going to light up the phone? You need to light up the phone. Your battery needs to charge and die, charge and die, charge and die for the next 2 days. And you go into that event with a whole new wave of people, and you see what ACN is about to do with this virtual event. If people can pay money to watch a bunch of other people do what they do at a high level, how about we get our people in front of the company that's been doing it at the highest level for almost 30 years. So that's all I got to say. I'm out of my mind. I'm fired up. We got the battery pack. We got the phone. It's already on blue because it's already been dead because I'm already making calls. And I'm telling you, I'm committed. The man said what the man said. The other man with the gray shirt who might be levitating right now in his chair said what he said. I'm just going to trust everything that they say. And I'm going to work my butt off with our team to get everyone possible to this Game On event. And I'm encouraging every one of the 369 other people that are on this RD and above right now to rally with us so that this event, we shut the website down. And I know the website's down right now. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the other one. And we got to replay this bad boy. I'll be reprimanded by Mr. Kane later for that. And we replay this bad boy because we put the work in. That's all I got to say, Ms. Provenzano. Thank you for allowing me to speak, sir. I appreciate your time.
There you go. I am ready. You guys ready? How exciting was that, man, to hear two powerhouses talk about the importance of events and what it's going to mean. And now it's time to get after it, everyone. I got nothing else to say. All that we have to do is do the things that they were talking about doing for the next 2 days, 2 solid days of locking people in, getting as many guests as possible on the Friday night BOM, register them for the Saturday event. We're going to get the job done. We're going to cast vision. We're going to sell a dream. We're going to promote people. You're going to hear stories and testimonies and get trained. Can you imagine if you packed the house on Friday and they saw the BOM and they hear the testimony and they show up on Saturday and they soak up the information? What will that mean for your business for the rest of this month? Can you imagine having 20 or 30 or 40 people join your business and be as excited as you are right now, ready to get up and get after it? That's the atmosphere that we're going to be providing on Friday night and Saturday of this week. And this was a timely leadership call, everybody, so that you can get focused and remain focused to do all the things and get all the things out of this upcoming event that you possibly can get. But it's going to take an effort. It's going to take from sun up to sundown. Let your batteries on your phones die down and recharge them, as James just said. We pay all these other institutions money to watch a program. How about getting in front of some people that care about you and want the best for you and are going to pour into your life for very little cost for an all-day event? What will that mean to you 5 years from now? I don't know. But I think if you take advantage of it and you implement the information, I think it'll make a world of difference to you. So I will see you all on Friday night. I'm going to talk to many people on Friday night and Saturday night at their team meetings. I can't wait for this weekend to happen, everybody. Thanks for spending the day with us. Happy St. Patrick's Day. God bless you, and we'll talk to you in a few days.
Game on. Let's go.